The alien queen was furious when the human returned her cursed blade. Captain Alina Voss stood on the bridge of her ship, the horizon's edge, staring at the broken planet below. Smoke and fire rose from the once thriving alien cities, now reduced to rubble. The alien world of Trallara IX had fallen, and with it, the grip of the alien Queen Lyria, a ruler feared across multiple star systems. The victory had come at a cost. Elena's fleet had lost dozens of ships in the final assault. Still, humanity had triumphed where no one else had dared. And yet, amid the ruins, her eyes caught a glimmer of something unusual, a blade unlike any she had ever seen. It was sleek, black, and almost alive in appearance. Strange symbols ran along its length, faintly glowing. When Alina held it in her hand, she felt a chill run down her spine. The ship's sensors immediately registered unusual energy readings, powerful, dangerous, and intelligent. "This is not ordinary," Alina whispered. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Kale Myro, looked over her shoulder. "It's beautiful, but it gives me the creeps," Kale admitted. "What is it?" Alina shook her head. "I don't know, but I think it belonged to Queen Lyria herself." The reports mention a cursed weapon, a blade capable of controlling anyone who touches it. Kale's eyes widened. "A cursed blade? You mean it's dangerous to even hold?" "Exactly," Alina said, keeping her voice steady. "It has power, but I'm not going to let it fall into the wrong hands. And humans are strong enough to resist its pull if we're careful." She turned the blade in her hand, noticing how it seemed to hum softly, almost like it was alive, aware of its surroundings. The idea that something could be so dangerous yet so tempting made her stomach tighten. "We have two options," Alina continued. "We can keep it as a weapon, but I refuse. This blade is too dangerous to exist in the hands of anyone, even us. We need to return it to Lyria herself." Kale's jaw dropped. "You mean give it back to the alien queen after everything she's done? Are you serious?" "I am," Alina replied firmly. "We don't fight just for revenge. Humans fight for honor, for justice. Returning the blade is the right choice. We can survive without it, but if it falls into her hands again, countless lives will be at risk." Kale studied her, conflicted. "That's bold, maybe too bold." Alina smiled faintly. "Bold is what humans do best." The journey back to Lyria's throne world was long and perilous. The human fleet was small, rebuilt hastily after the last battle, and they knew the alien queen would not allow the return of her weapon without a fight. As the horizon's edge moved through space, Alina convened a meeting with her senior officers. "We are not just delivering a weapon," she said. "We are proving something. Humans are honorable, humans can resist temptation, and humans are not afraid to face the consequences of doing the right thing." The crew nodded, inspired by their captain's words. They had seen humans accomplish impossible things before, but this mission was different. The entire galaxy would watch. Unknown to Alina and her crew, far across the galaxy, Queen Lyria felt a familiar tingle in her mind. She rose from her throne, her multiple eyes glowing with fury. The cursed blade had been taken from her long ago, and now it was returning, alive and untouched. How is this possible?" she hissed, her voice cold as ice. "No one resists my power, no one refuses my gifts." Her advisors shuffled nervously. "Your Majesty, the reports say a human fleet is approaching. They are carrying your blade." The Queen's many faces contorted in rage. "A human, that insignificant species dares to defy me. This will be remembered." Back on the human fleet, Alina was busy preparing for the dangers ahead. She and Kale ran simulations of possible attacks. They considered ambushes, boarding parties, and ambivalent alien allies. Alina knew that Lyria would not simply accept the return of the blade without testing the humans first. "The Queen's pride will not allow a simple return," Alina said. "Expect traps, expect treachery. We cannot underestimate her. We have to be ready for anything." Kale frowned. "You really think she'll let us survive?" "I don't know," Alina admitted. "But humans have survived worse. Our ingenuity, our courage, our ability to work together, that is our greatest weapon. Not this blade, not even our ships. Humans themselves are the reason we will succeed." As the fleet traveled through the asteroid belt near Trallara IX, a scout ship detected an ambush. Alien fighters, sleek and deadly, came from all directions, firing plasma beams and missiles. Alina's voice cut through the comms. "Battle stations, evade and return fire." "Protect the blade at all costs," the humans responded with precision. The horizon's edge twisted and turned, dodging enemy fire, while smaller ships flanked and harassed the attackers. Alina directed the maneuvers with a calm intensity that kept her crew focused. Despite the aliens' superior numbers, the humans' improvisation and teamwork allowed them to survive. Alina had even deployed a decoy, a holographic image of the blade, to confuse the enemy. The alien fighters wasted precious time attacking the illusion, allowing the human fleet to escape. After the ambush, Kale shook his head. "I can't believe we made it. They almost had us." Alina examined the blade, which had glowed faintly during the battle. "It wants to be tested," she said. "It reacts to conflict, but humans, we are more than our fear. We are stronger than its influence." Kale stared at her. "You really trust in that?" "I have to," Alina replied. "Humans are not like Lyria's minions. We resist because we choose to, not because we are forced. That is why we will succeed where others fail." Days passed as the fleet approached the alien throne world, a massive planet covered in dark cities and shining spires. The humans could see the energy barriers surrounding the capital city, a symbol of Lyria's immense power. Alina felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. Every human in her fleet knew the risk. They could die at any moment, but the mission was bigger than any one person. The blade was not just a weapon, it was a test of human will and honor. One night, Alina stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars. Kale joined her quietly. "You're sure about this?" he asked softly. "I've never been more sure," she replied. "Humans have always faced impossible odds, and we have always chosen the right path, even when it's the hardest. Returning the blade, this is our moment to show that again." Kale nodded, though doubt still lingered in his eyes. "If anyone can do it, it's you, Alina." She smiled faintly. "No, Kale, if anyone can do it, it's all of us. Every human who believes in doing the right thing, that is our true strength." As the throne world loomed closer, the human fleet prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Queen Lyria was waiting, furious beyond measure. But Alina and her crew were ready, not just with weapons and strategy, but with the courage and honor that defined humanity. The first step of their dangerous mission was nearly complete. They were about to face the most powerful ruler in the galaxy, armed only with their wits, their fleet, and a blade that should have been a curse. But for humans, it could be a test of strength, courage, and morality. And for the first time, somewhere deep in the universe, Queen Lyria's fury had met its match in human resolve. The human fleet moved cautiously through the void of space, approaching the outskirts of the alien throne world. Captain Alina Voss stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, her hands resting lightly on the control console. Every eye on her crew was fixed on the stars ahead. They all knew what was coming. "Sensors are showing multiple energy spikes," said Lieutenant Kaelmyro, scanning the display. "Queen Lyria's forces are mobilizing." Alina did not flinch. "Good," she said calmly. "They think they can stop us. Let them come." "Humans have faced impossible odds before, and we've always survived." Kale frowned. "You make it sound simple. This is the strongest ruler in the galaxy we're talking about." Alina shook her head. "It is not about strength alone. Lyria may have her power, but we have courage, ingenuity, and teamwork. That is what makes humans extraordinary. That is what she will never understand." Far away, in the palace of Lyria, the alien queen's fury had reached an almost tangible heat. Her multifaceted eyes glowed as she watched the human fleet on her holographic display. "How dare they?" she hissed. Her voice resonated across the throne chamber. "A human dares to return my blade and walks boldly toward my world. Send the hunters, bring them to me. They will learn the cost of defiance." Her advisors bowed, fear evident in every movement. "Your Majesty, the human fleet is small. Perhaps we can overwhelm them before they reach the city." "Small?" Lyria's many faces twisted in disbelief. "Small or not, they insult me." "That is unforgivable. Prepare every ship. No mercy, no hesitation. They will kneel or die." Back on the human fleet, alarms suddenly rang through the horizon's edge. Red lights flashed as Kale's voice rang out. "Incoming, multiple ships detected. We're surrounded." Alina quickly took command. "Battle stations, distribute defensive drones and prepare for evasive maneuvers. Protect the blade at all costs. No ship is expendable unless necessary." The fleet surged forward, dodging the first volleys of plasma fire. Explosions lit the void as the alien hunters closed in. Alina's strategy relied on speed, unpredictability, and precision, qualities that had made humans a force to be reckoned with despite their smaller numbers. Deploy decoy drones, Elena commanded. Make them think the blade is elsewhere. The drones flickered into existence, shimmering holograms of the cursed blade projected in multiple locations around the fleet. The alien ships hesitated, confused by the illusions. Missiles fired at false targets while the human ships moved undetected through a narrow asteroid field. Kale grinned despite the tension. I can't believe it worked. They're chasing ghosts. Elena nodded, her eyes scanning the readouts. Human creativity is our greatest weapon. Lyria's forces are powerful, but they rely too much on control and fear. They cannot adapt as quickly as we can. The pursuit continued for hours, through fields of jagged asteroids and swirling debris from Trellara IX's destroyed cities. Human pilots used every trick in their playbook: sharp turns, rapid deceleration, and unpredictable trajectories. The alien hunters fired relentlessly, but every attack was anticipated or outmaneuvered. Meanwhile, Queen Lyria's fury intensified. She hovered over the command interface in her palace, watching as her elite hunters struggled to pin down the humans. Impossible, she growled. The humans, they are too clever, my fleet cannot touch them. An advisor bowed nervously. Your Majesty, perhaps if we focus on the blade directly. Lyria's eyes narrowed. No, the humans must be punished for their arrogance. I will not be mocked. Prepare the next wave. This time, leave no gaps. Elena guided her fleet through a dense asteroid field that acted as a natural shield. Plasma blasts ricocheted off massive rock formations, giving the humans temporary cover. Still, they had to be careful. One misstep could destroy a ship and compromise the mission. We're entering the field, Elena announced. Stay close to the asteroids and maintain formation. Use the environment to your advantage. Remember, this isn't just about fighting, it's about survival and strategy. The ships moved like a single organism, every pilot understanding their role. Humans had an instinct for coordination that surprised their alien foes. Even with Lyria's best hunters in pursuit, the human fleet adapted faster than the aliens could anticipate. At one point, Kale spotted a massive alien dreadnought trying to cut them off. Elena, they're trying to block our path. Elena's expression was calm. Not a problem. Prepare the ramming drones and decoy signals. We'll give them a taste of their own arrogance. The decoys confused the dreadnought, drawing its fire while smaller human ships executed a daring flanking maneuver. Explosions rocked the asteroid field as debris scattered through space. Despite their size, the humans' speed and teamwork kept them ahead. During a brief pause, the crew gathered in the common area of the horizon's edge. The tension was high, but morale remained strong. You all did well, Elena said, addressing her officers. We are not just surviving, we are proving something. Humanity is not controlled by fear, not by power, not by curses. We are alive because we make choices and we choose courage. One of the junior officers, a young pilot named Mara, spoke up. Captain, do you really think the Queen will let us reach her planet? She's so powerful, Elena smiled. I don't know, but humans have never waited for an easy path. We make our own way, no matter how impossible it seems. That is why we have survived this far, and that is why we will continue. The crew nodded, their determination renewed. They were not just delivering a blade. They were showing the galaxy what humans stand for. Meanwhile, Queen Lyria was growing desperate. She activated a special pursuit force, elite ships with advanced AI capable of predicting enemy movements. The humans would not escape this time, she believed. In the human fleet, sensors began picking up strange readings. Captain, the AI ships are predicting our maneuvers before we make them, Kale warned. Elena thought for a moment. Then we'll do the unexpected. Humans are not predictable. Launch the pulse flare and split the fleet. Half goes left, half goes right. They won't be able to adjust fast enough. The humans executed the maneuver perfectly. The AI-controlled ships fired at the wrong targets, crashing into each other or the asteroid field. Elena's fleet emerged unscathed, moving closer to the throne world with each passing hour. As the fleet neared the alien capital planet, the tension was unbearable. Every crew member understood the risks. They were deep in the heart of enemy space, carrying a weapon that could destroy or corrupt anyone. And yet the humans pressed on, undaunted by fear. Elena reflected on the journey so far. Each obstacle, each battle, each decision had reinforced a simple truth. Humans were resilient because of their courage, their morality, and their creativity. Not because of weapons or sheer strength, but because they chose to act with honor, even when the odds were impossible. Kale approached her quietly. "You were right," he said softly. "Lyria underestimates us. She's furious, but she's also afraid." Alina looked out at the stars, her gaze fixed on the distant planet. Yes, she has never seen humans like this before. We are small, but we are not weak. And when she finally meets us, she will learn that humans do not bow to fear. Humans fight with their minds and their hearts. The fleet continued its approach, ready for whatever Queen Lyria would throw at them next. Explosions in the distance reminded them that the enemy was relentless. But the humans were faster, smarter, and braver. In the shadows of the throne world, Lyria prepared her next strike, unaware that human determination is the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. The chase had only just begun. The human fleet hovered at the edge of the throne world's orbit, their ships forming a careful perimeter. The planet below shimmered with energy shields, massive spires, and the unmistakable aura of power that marked Queen Lyria's dominion. Captain Alina Voss watched the planet from the bridge of the horizon's edge, her eyes sharp and unwavering. "We've made it this far," Alina said quietly, almost to herself. "Now comes the most dangerous part." Lieutenant Kale Myro, standing beside her, scanned the fleet's sensors. "We're in range of the capital's defenses. If they fire, we could be destroyed in minutes." Alina shook her head. "Not if we are careful. We are not attacking. They will know we come in peace. That is our advantage. Lyria expects a fight. She does not expect honor." The landing was tense. The humans guided their fleet through the planet's outer defenses, dodging automated turrets and scanning drones. The throne city, built like a fortress with enormous spires and glowing energy fields, stretched below them. The city seemed alive, humming with power, as if it sensed the presence of the cursed blade. When Alina's landing craft touched down in the central plaza, she felt the weight of history pressing down. This was the heart of Lyria's empire, the place where countless worlds had been ruled through fear and strength. And now a single human had come to return her most powerful weapon. Kale turned to Alina. "This is madness. They could kill us all the moment we step outside." Alina smiled faintly. "Madness is relative. We are here because humans do not bow to fear. We act with courage, and that is stronger than any weapon." The plaza was empty, silent except for the distant hum of energy barriers and the occasional patrol drone. Alina stepped forward, carrying the cursed blade carefully in both hands. Its black surface glimmered faintly, almost alive, as if sensing the nearness of its true owner. "Stay alert," Alina whispered to her team. "We do not know what tricks Lyria may have prepared." Suddenly, a wave of energy shifted the air, and from the shadows of the towering spires, Queen Lyria appeared. Her many eyes glowed with fury, and the air around her seemed to hum with power. The blade's whisper grew louder, dark and compelling, trying to lure anyone who approached. "Alina Voss," the queen hissed, her voice echoing across the plaza. "You dare return what belongs to me and walk here alive." Alina bowed her head slightly, a gesture of respect without fear. "Your Majesty, I return this blade not as a weapon for myself, but because it is too dangerous to exist in anyone's hands. We choose honor over power." Lyria's eyes widened in disbelief. "Honor, humans. You dare lecture me on honor while standing before me holding my blade?" Alina met the queen's gaze steadily. "Yes, humans are not ruled by fear. We make choices, that is our strength, and we choose not to serve your power even when it is offered." The queen's rage grew. She stepped closer and the ground seemed to tremble beneath her feet. "You dare reject me? I can give you power beyond imagination. Take the blade, join me, and you could rule as no human has ever ruled before." Alina shook her head. "We do not need your power. We create our own path. That is what it means to be human." For a moment, the plaza was silent except for the faint hum of the cursed blade. Its energy seemed to pulse faster, as if reacting to the queen's anger and Alina's defiance. Lyria reached out her hand, trying to tempt the human to claim the blade by force of will. But Alina did not flinch. Her fingers tightened on the hilt of the weapon, not in greed, but in control. "The blade is not yours to command anymore," she said calmly. "Its power cannot dominate a human who chooses not to be ruled by fear." The queen's many faces twisted with confusion and rage. For the first time, she realized that the humans were different from all other creatures she had encountered. They were small, fragile, yet unbreakable. You cannot resist it," Lyria shouted. "All who touch the blade bend to my will. You are a human. You are weak." Alina lifted her chin, steady and resolute. We are not weak. Humans survive because we fight with our minds and hearts. You have never faced a species that refuses control. Today, you do. A tense silence followed. Lyria's energy flared, sending a ripple of power across the plaza, but the humans stood firm. The cursed blade glimmered in Alina's hands, whispering dark thoughts promising strength, vengeance, and temptation. "Do you not feel it?" the queen hissed. "The power, it is yours. You could command the stars themselves." Alina's voice was calm, almost gentle. "Power without control is chaos. Strength without honor is destruction. I will not take it, and I will not let it harm anyone. That is human choice." The queen's fury was almost unbearable. She had never encountered such defiance. Every subject, every warrior, every planet had yielded to her. But humans were different, and that difference both infuriated and fascinated her. Then came the guards. Lyria's elite warriors surged forward, their weapons glowing, prepared to seize the humans and claim the blade. Alina did not panic. "Form defensive positions," she ordered. "Keep the blade safe. Do not attack unless necessary. Show them what humans can do without hatred." The human team moved with precision. They were smaller and fewer in number, but their strategy was flawless. They used the plaza's architecture to their advantage, dodging attacks, using walls and pillars for cover, and setting clever traps that slowed the guards without lethal force. The queen watched in disbelief as her elite forces struggled to gain ground. Every move the humans made was unpredictable, every countermeasure precise. They were proving, with actions not words, that humans could stand against a far stronger opponent. "You rely on cunning," Lyria said through gritted teeth. "But cunning alone will not save you." Alina stepped forward, her calm demeanor unwavering. "Cunning, courage, and choice, that is what saves humans. We do not give up because the odds are impossible. We survive because we refuse to yield to fear or power." The cursed blade pulsed as if acknowledging her words. Its dark whispers seemed to weaken, frustrated that their promises of domination were ignored. The humans were not tempted. The queen's fury surged even more, yet she could not strike directly. Any move against Alina would risk revealing her own vulnerabilities to the humans. For the first time, Lyria's mind wavered. She realized that the human's strength was not in weaponry, fleet, or technology, but in honor and willpower. It was an alien concept, completely foreign to her. "You defy me and survive," she whispered, almost in disbelief. "You are different from all others." "Yes," Alina replied. "Humans are different. We fight for what is right, not for what is easy. That is why I stand here, returning your blade, not using it." The queen's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something new appearing, respect, though buried deep beneath her rage. She realized that the human's defiance was not an insult to her power, but a lesson in strength that she had never understood. Negotiation began in earnest. Alina offered the blade, placing it carefully on a raised platform in the center of the plaza. She stepped back, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "This blade is yours, Queen Lyria," she said. "I return it as a symbol of human choice. We do not seek your favor or your power. We act because it is right. Accept it, and know that humans do not fear to do what is just." The queen approached, her many eyes fixed on the blade. The whispers from its curse grew desperate, trying to lure her into aggression. Yet the human's calm defiance seemed to weaken its influence. Lyria's fury did not vanish, but a grudging realization took root. Humans were not like her other subjects. They could not be controlled by fear or corruption. And in that truth lay a lesson that the queen would never forget. Alina's team remained alert, ready for any betrayal. The queen's guards lingered, unsure whether to attack or obey. The tension in the plaza was palpable, every second a test of willpower. Finally, Lyria spoke, her voice low but filled with intensity. "You have returned my blade, human, and yet you have not bent to fear or temptation. That is remarkable. Do not think this changes the outcome of our relationship. But know this, humans are unlike any foe I have faced." Alina inclined her head. "That is the truth, Queen Lyria. We fight for more than ourselves. We fight for honor, for justice, and for the lives of countless others. That is the difference." The queen's eyes glimmered with fury, fascination, and something that might have been respect. For the first time, she saw the humans not as prey or tools, but as a force of nature unlike anything in the galaxy. As the humans prepared to withdraw to their ships, Alina cast one final glance at the cursed blade. It remained on the pedestal, dormant but aware. The mission was only half complete. The humans had survived the negotiation, but the greater challenge, proving their courage in the face of the Queen's full fury, was still ahead. Alina's heart swelled with quiet pride. They had faced the impossible and survived. Humanity had shown that strength is not in weapons alone, but in courage, ingenuity, and honor. The Queen watched them leave, her fury tempered by curiosity. She would remember this day. She would remember the humans. And somewhere in her mind, a plan began to form for revenge or perhaps understanding. The stage was set for the next chapter. The humans had returned the blade, but the real test, the battle of will, wits, and courage, was only beginning. The calm in the plaza was deceptive. Captain Alina Voss had returned the cursed blade, and her team had survived the tense negotiation with Queen Lyria, but they all knew that peace would not last. The Queen's fury was still burning, barely contained beneath her composed exterior. Alina gathered her officers on the horizon's edge for a strategy meeting. "We did what humans do best," she said, her voice steady. "We acted with honor and courage, but this is far from over. The Queen will not let us leave without testing us further. Prepare for anything." Lieutenant Kale Myro tapped a console nervously. "Prepare for attack? She hasn't struck yet. We're still on neutral ground." Alina shook her head. "Neutral ground is an illusion. Lyria's neutrality is temporary. She is furious, and fury leads to rash decisions. Stay alert." Across the throne city, Queen Lyria's mind was ablaze. Her elite guards had failed to intimidate the humans, and her cursed blade had returned unclaimed. For the first time, she realized that these humans were unlike any species she had encountered. "They defy me," Lyria hissed, pacing the top of her palace. "They are clever, fearless, and unyielding. This is unacceptable. They must learn that no one challenges the Queen." Her advisors watched nervously. "Your Majesty, perhaps we can capture them with a surprise strike." "No," Lyria snapped. "We will not waste time. The humans must learn the cost of defiance, and I will make them understand it myself." The attack came suddenly. Energy pulses erupted across the plaza, and the Queen's elite forces surged forward. They moved with precision and strength, but the humans were ready. Alina's team deployed defensive shields, positioning themselves strategically between the attackers and the blade. "Hold your positions," Alina commanded. "We are not just defending a weapon, we are defending our honor. Remember, humans survive because we think, we adapt, and we work together." The first wave of guards collided with human defenses. Their strength was impressive, but the humans' strategy was superior. They used the plaza's architecture to their advantage, forcing the guards into tight corridors and using non-lethal traps to slow their advance. Kale activated a series of holographic projections, confusing the attackers and creating multiple false targets. Explosions erupted, but no human was seriously harmed. The humans were proving that courage and strategy could counter raw strength. Queen Lyria watched from above, her rage growing. How can this be? They are only humans, they should be weak, and yet they resist." Her cursed blade, lying dormant on the pedestal, pulsed softly, as if sensing the tension. Its whispers grew desperate, offering promises of power, revenge, and temptation. Lyria considered taking it herself, but the humans' defiance had created an unexpected problem. Their strength weakened the blade's influence. "They are testing me," Lyria muttered, "and I will not fail." She unleashed a new wave of elite warriors, equipped with energy gauntlets and advanced combat suits. They moved faster and hit harder, but the humans adapted. Alina anticipated their moves, using clever countermeasures, decoys, and traps that slowed the attack without unnecessary harm. Every action the humans took demonstrated not only skill but a moral choice. They fought to survive, not to destroy. This was something entirely alien to Lyria, who had always ruled through fear and absolute power. The battle escalated. Energy beams and blasts lit the plaza like a storm of fire. The humans were smaller in number, but their teamwork and ingenuity allowed them to survive overwhelming odds. They moved as a single organism, each crew member anticipating the next move. Alina herself was in the thick of the fight, coordinating defenses, guiding her team, and keeping the cursed blade protected. Her mind worked faster than any of her enemies could predict. "We can't let them reach the blade," she shouted. "If it falls into the wrong hands, we lose everything." The humans worked together flawlessly, forming barriers, using environmental traps, and setting up zones where the elite guards could not advance. Every attempt to overwhelm them was met with a countermeasure, every attack cleverly diverted. As the fight continued, the queen became more desperate. She moved closer to the battlefield, her own power flaring. Energy rippled through the plaza as she unleashed a psychic wave, intended to destabilize the humans. But Alina and her team stood firm. Their training, courage, and trust in one another allowed them to resist. Even the whispers of the cursed blade trying to tempt them failed to sway their focus. "Humans are extraordinary," Lyria muttered, a mixture of rage and fascination in her voice. "They do not break under fear. They do not bend under temptation. How is this possible?" Alina, sensing the psychic wave, shouted instructions to her team. "Focus on strategy, keep moving, use the environment. We are stronger than fear." One of Lyria's elite guards, larger and more powerful than the others, broke through the defensive line, charging toward the cursed blade. Alina moved swiftly, placing herself between the warrior and the weapon. "You will not take it," she shouted, deflecting an energy strike with a shield. The guard swung his massive gauntlet, but Alina anticipated it, stepping aside and causing him to stumble into one of the decoy traps. He crashed into the wall, giving the humans a momentary advantage. Kale grinned. "Nice timing, Captain. That was textbook human ingenuity." Alina nodded. "Humans survive because we think ahead, not because we are stronger, because we refuse to be defeated by force alone." The battle raged for hours. Energy beams, explosions, and the clash of advanced weapons filled the plaza. Yet the humans remained resolute, using clever tactics, teamwork, and quick thinking to survive. During the fight, Alina realized that the cursed blade itself seemed to be reacting. Its whispers grew frantic, as if it wanted to influence the queen and the humans alike. But the humans' moral courage, their refusal to give in to fear or greed, weakened its power. "They cannot be controlled," Lyria hissed, her rage bordering on disbelief. "No human has ever resisted the blade before." Alina, seeing the queen's frustration, decided to take a calculated risk. She signaled her team. "Divide and confuse," she commanded. "Force them to overextend. Use every trick we have." The humans split into smaller units, each moving unpredictably, luring the elite guards into traps, forcing them to waste energy and focus. Every move was precise, careful, and deliberate. The queen realized her strategy was failing. Her elite guards were exhausted, and the humans had turned her own plaza into a maze of obstacles. She could see now that raw strength and power alone were not enough to defeat them. "They are cunning, fearless, and united," Lyria muttered. "They are stronger than I imagined. Perhaps humans are not just a species to conquer. Perhaps they are a force to respect." Alina took advantage of the momentary pause. She stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Queen Lyria," she said, her voice calm but firm, "this fight does not need to continue. Humans do not seek power for its own sake. We do not fight for revenge. We fight for honor, justice, and life. You can choose to end this battle now or force more destruction. The choice is yours." The queen's eyes narrowed. The humans had survived every attack, countered every strategy, and refused to be corrupted by fear or power. For the first time, Lyria understood something fundamental. Humans were not ruled by force. They were ruled by choice. The tide of the battle shifted. Lyria's elite guards hesitated, confused by the humans' unexpected tactics and their unwavering courage. Every move the humans made was deliberate, clever, and morally conscious. They were not fighting to kill. They were fighting to survive and protect the cursed blade. Alina's heart raced, but her mind was clear. This was the moment humans had been tested for, not just against weapons and power, but against fear and temptation itself. "Hold the line," she shouted. "We are humans. We survive because we do what is right, not what is easy." The humans rallied together, forming a final defensive perimeter around the cursed blade. Lyria's energy flares struck near them, but none landed. The humans had anticipated every move, and their moral courage gave them strength beyond the physical. Finally, Lyria paused. Her fury was tempered by realization. The humans had survived, adapted, and resisted every tactic she had employed. Her cursed blade remained untouched, unclaimed, and powerless against their honor. Alina took a step forward. "The blade is yours, Queen Lyria. But remember this, humans will never bow to fear or corruption. Strength is not just power. Strength is courage, honor, and choice. That is what makes us unbreakable." For the first time, Lyria's expression shifted, not in rage, but in grudging respect. She had underestimated humans. She had thought power alone could dominate them, but she had been wrong. The battle ended not with a surrender, but with recognition. Humans had proven that honor, ingenuity, and courage were stronger than brute force. Elena and her team had survived against impossible odds, and Queen Lyria had learned, for the first time, that humans were unlike any other species in the galaxy. The plaza was scarred with signs of battle, but the humans remained intact. Their ships were ready, their crew resilient, and the cursed blade safe. Humanity had once again shown that true strength comes from within. Elena looked to her team. "We did what humans do best," she said softly. "We survived, we protected life. And we proved that even in the face of impossible odds, humans do not give up, we do not yield, and we do what is right." Lyria, watching from her palace, felt a mixture of fury, fascination, and respect. She would remember this day, and she would remember the humans. The battle was over, but the story was far from finished. The plaza lay quiet after the battle. Smoke curled from scorched energy panels and debris littered the ground. Captain Elena Voss stood with her team in the center, staring at the cursed blade resting on the pedestal. Its dark surface pulsed faintly, whispering faint promises of power that no human would heed. "We did it," Lieutenant Kale Myro said softly, awe and relief in his voice. "We survived and we didn't even touch it." Elena nodded, her gaze fixed on the weapon. This was never about taking it. It was about showing what humans are capable of. Courage, honor, intelligence, and moral strength. That is our true power. The humans had survived impossible odds, faced a queen's fury, and returned a weapon of immense danger without succumbing to its allure. They had proven, in every action and every choice, that humanity's strength came not from domination, but from restraint and ingenuity. Far above the plaza, Queen Lyria watched. Her multiple eyes glowed with a complex mixture of emotions, rage, surprise, and an unfamiliar sense of respect. For the first time, she realized that humans were not just another species to conquer. They were a force unlike any she had ever encountered. "They defy me, and they survive," Lyria murmured. "No power, no fear, no curse can bend them. Perhaps humans are more than I thought." Her advisors shifted nervously. "Your Majesty, shall we strike again?" "They may leave and bring this defiance to other worlds." Lyria's gaze hardened. "Not yet. Let them leave. But remember this, humans do not forget. They do not forgive easily. And they have shown me that they are dangerous in ways I have yet to fully understand." Elena turned to her team. "Prepare to leave," she said. "We've proven our point, but the mission isn't over until we're safely back in space. Stay alert, she may not have finished testing us." The humans moved with practiced efficiency, clearing debris, securing the area, and readying their landing craft. Every action was deliberate, careful, and precise. They had learned from the battle that even the smallest mistake could have catastrophic consequences. As they lifted off, the cursed blade remained on the pedestal, silent but aware. Its power had not been destroyed, but it had been resisted. Humanity had survived where so many others had failed, and that fact would linger in the Queen's mind for a long time. The journey to the edge of the planet's orbit was tense. The humans knew that the Queen could strike at any moment, unleashing her fleets or using her psychic powers to try to halt their escape. But they were ready. Elena had anticipated every move, prepared every strategy, and ensured her team was as coordinated and clever as possible. Kale glanced at the approaching stars. "Do you think she'll attack us again?" he asked. Elena shook her head. "Not now. She's furious, yes, but she's also learned something important. Humans do not yield, humans do not surrender, and humans do not give in to temptation. That lesson, it will stay with her." The crew remained silent for a moment, letting the weight of their achievement sink in. They had faced the ultimate challenge, survived, and emerged stronger, not just physically, but morally. As the fleet moved further from the planet, Elena sent a message to allied human colonies and friendly alien factions. "This is Captain Elena Voss of the Horizon's Edge," she said. "The cursed blade has been returned. Humanity has faced the impossible, and we have survived with honor. Let this be a message. We do not bow to fear, we do not seek power for power's sake, and we will always fight for what is right. Humans are not to be underestimated." The message spread quickly, reaching countless worlds. Allies celebrated the courage of the humans, inspired by their example. Even those who had feared the alien queen's wrath began to see that humanity was a species of resilience, ingenuity, and moral strength. Back on the throne world, Lyria paced in her palace. The humans had left, but the memory of their defiance burned in her mind. She stared at the pedestal where the cursed blade rested, untouched, yet powerless against human will. They survived without taking my weapon. They did not fear me. They did not obey me, she said quietly. No other species has ever done this. No one has ever made me reconsider my power. Her advisors watched in silence. What will you do, Your Majesty? Lyria's many faces turned, her eyes thoughtful. We will remember them. One day, humans will return, or their influence will spread further. And when that day comes, we must be ready. But for now, they have shown me that even humans can teach lessons to queens. The human fleet continued its journey, leaving the alien throne world behind. Alina stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. We did what humans do best, she said softly. We survived. We protected life. We proved that courage, honor, and moral strength are stronger than fear, power, or curses, and we've left a mark that will never be forgotten. Kale smiled. Do you think the Queen will ever forget us? Alina shook her head. No, and that is exactly as it should be. Humans are remembered for what we stand for, not just what we do. We've shown that even in the face of the most powerful ruler in the galaxy, humans choose honor. The crew of the Horizon's Edge cheered quietly, not out of arrogance, but out of pride in their courage and resilience. They had survived the impossible, and they had done it together. Weeks later, the humans returned to their home systems. News of their courage and the return of the cursed blade spread across the galaxy. Stories of the human fleet's ingenuity, bravery, and honor inspired countless civilizations. They learned that strength was not just about weapons or numbers. It was about intelligence, morality, and unity. Alina reflected on the journey. Humanity had faced the impossible and survived, but more importantly, they had reminded the galaxy that humans cannot be controlled or underestimated. Their choices, their courage, and their honor were what made them exceptional. Kale looked at Alina. Do you ever think about the future, about what might come next? Alina smiled. I do, and whatever comes, we will face it as humans always have, together with courage, ingenuity, and honor. That is how we survive, that is how we thrive. And that is how we will continue to shape the galaxy. Far across space, Queen Lyria watched distant reports of human colonies and their spreading influence. The cursed blade lay in her palace dormant, but its lessons lingered. She understood now that humans were not just a species to conquer, they were a force that demanded respect. And somewhere deep in her mind, she acknowledged the truth she had tried to deny. Humans were extraordinary. Their courage, their honor, and their moral strength were unmatched, and one day, that would shape the galaxy in ways she could not yet imagine. For now, the humans had left her world. But they had left a lasting mark. A reminder that even in the face of overwhelming power, humanity would endure, resist, and rise above every challenge. The stars were theirs, the galaxy watched, and humanity had proven once again that true strength comes from within. Captain Alina Voss smiled, looking out at the endless stretch of space. Humanity had survived, humanity had triumphed, and humanity's story was far from over.